Okay, so welcome welcome everyone dito sa um crash course for machine learning. So ang purpose lang naman itong machine learning na crash course is to first of all provide knowledge pagdating sa machine learning kasi ito na yung isa sa mga tools na ginagamit ng in almost any field na napapasukan. Okay, so medyo ubiquitous na tong no, tong machine learning as a tool if you want to make predictions about certain things. Okay, so yeah, okay, it's fine if it's fine, Samantha. Okay, so yun, ang ipoprovide lang natin for the next 3 days ay talagang basic knowledge lang and idea kung ano yung potential na paggagamitan ng machine learning. Okay, um, so ang examples na ibibigay ko ay mostly on computer vision. Okay, and actually magbibigay ako ng isang example from one of my physics classes before. Okay, yung how to differentiate between walking versus running, na kung saan yung exercise na to ay nag-participate yung isa sa mga participants ngayon dito sa course na ito. Okay, so I hope na meron kayong ma-pick up in the next 3 days. Yung again, ang ina-expect lang dito sa inyo is ang makukuha nyo lang dito is basic knowledge and idea kung saan nyo pwedeng gamitin yung machine learning. Okay. So let me just share yung slide. Okay. Okay, so this 3-day course is a machine learning. It's an introduction to machine learning. Okay, and this is being done under the Machine Intelligence and Neural Dynamics Laboratory ng UP Baguio. Okay. So, tulad nung sinabi ko, ang objective lang natin dito is to understand what machine learning is, kung para saan yung machine learning, anong pwedeng paggamitan. Tapos, for today, ang pag-aaralan natin is an example of how machine learning can be used to make a prediction of systems na nagbe-behave in a linear fashion. Okay, so yung model na gagamitin natin ay regression. Okay, so if I'm using words na medyo unfamiliar pa sa inyo or medyo technical, i-explain ko yan mamaya-mayang konti. Okay, so ang expectations lang sa inyo dito is a good mathematical background, beginner's level ng Python programming. I-explain ko naman yung code sa inyo mamayang konti. If you don't have any background on Python, it's totally fine. Meron akong trick na ipapakita rin sa inyo mamaya to help you understand kung anong nangyayari sa isang code. I hope at the very least na meron kayong background sa programming, regardless kung anong language yung ginamit ninyo. And I hope na if you don't understand anything, just ask. And if you're curious about something, kung saan pwedeng gamitin itong bagay, kung saan pa pwedeng gamitin itong mga bagay na ito, okay, you just ask. Okay, doon na lang sa chat box kung nahihiya kayo. Pero kung hindi kayo nahihiya, then just turn on your mic. Pagkatapos ay ang tawag dito, just ask your questions. Okay? Before we begin, can I ask, I have just one simple question and you can just answer with a simple yes or no. Okay, do you have any experience pagdating sa programming? Okay, so it's just a yes or no question. Okay, and then okay, good. And then second question is, meron ba kayo kung meron kayong experience sa programming, ano yung software na ginamit nyo sa pag-program? Yeah, okay. VS Code is fine. Okay, sige. Okay, sige. Medyo iba yung syntax ng kaunti nung VS Code, but pero hindi naman siya ganun kalayo in terms of when you switch to Python. Okay, so sige lang. Gusto ko lang malaman para alam ko para alam ko kung tawag dito, kung paano ko i-explain yung codes mamaya. Okay, so yun. So let's maybe we can proceed. Okay, ano bang konsepto ng machine learning? Okay, pag sinabing machine learning, ano bang pagkakaintindi niyo dun sa concept na yun? Well, basically, pag sinabi nating machine learning, uh, it's us humans, okay, na tinuturuan natin yung machines to think and act like us. Okay, basically to think. Okay, and maraming nagsasabi na tawag dito sa pace ng artificial intelligence, okay, during these times, sa bilis ng pace ng artificial intelligence during these times, ay darating na tayo sa point na kung saan um, yung machines ay talagang makakapag-isip na, magkakaroon ng isip tulad ng humans. Okay? Naniniwala ba kayo dito? Anong tingin niyo dito? Sa tingin niyo ba na soon ay yung machines or computers can think and act like us?
Yes.
Bakit, Robert? Ano yung ano yung ano yung
Ay,
basis natin?
mm, actually, may mga applications na nangyayari sa mga industries, sa
Mhm.
healthcare and sa banking actually meron na rin. So I
Right, right,
think
right,
doon na rin papunta yung machine learning
right.
and magkakaroon pa ng maraming application in the future.
Yes. And in fact, marami na talagang applications even now, 'di ba? Pero and it might be na yung mga applications nito in the future, tulad nung sinabi mo, may be something na hindi pa natin naiisip ngayon. Kasi who knows kung anong klaseng mga anong tawag dito, mga subjects or fields, mga bagong subjects or fields ang lalabas as a result of yung mga pinag-aaralan natin sa machine learning at this time. So really, um, for example, like 4 years ago, when I started to learn about machine learning, ito lang yung inaaral ko. Pero now, di ba, after 4 or 5 years, actually kung ano yung pinag-aaralan natin yung pag-aaralan natin the next 3 days ay sobrang basic na pwede ngang hindi mo na pag-aralan kasi machines now, you can actually make tawag dito, a program or a code even without learning how to code, even without learning how to write a single line of code. And yan, ipapakita ko rin sa inyo kung paano gawin yan actually mamaya or bukas. Okay, but ando doon na tayo sa stage na sobrang dependent na tayo sa machines. And to the point na minsan nakakalimutan na rin natin mag-isip for ourselves. And I don't know if you've read about yung article recently na pinost ng MIT na bumaba yung cognitive levels ng mga students pagdating sa paggamit ng ChatGPT kasi marami sa mga estudyante ay gumagamit na lang ng ChatGPT and then kina-copy paste na lang dun sa mga works na sinasubmit nila sa mga subjects nila at hindi nila chine-check yung content and hindi nila pina-fact check. And that's one tawag dito negative aspect pagdating sa machine learning. Well, on the other hand, sobrang dami rin ng nung applications ng machine learning na makakatulong talaga sa atin. Tulad nung sinabi ni Robert na sa banking, sa health, okay, and sa cyber, sa security, okay. So yun. Maybe it's just tawag dito, parang kailangan na natin maghanap ng some sort of balance kung at saka goal kung saan natin gustong gamitin itong machine learning. And I hope because you're attending this course na makita nyo rin yung ano no, yung purpose ng machine learning na ito para sa inyo. Okay, so well, for me, kung akong tatanungin nyo kung darating tayo sa point na they will act like humans, probably, pero not soon. Kasi yung machine learning, okay, needs data. So machines can only learn from the data, okay, that anong tawag dito, we provide it. Of course, there's what you call unsupervised learning, and i-discuss ko yung mamayang konti. But for now, most of the machine learning happens because of the data na pinaprovide natin sa kanila. So medyo boxed pa yung machine in that sense. So it cannot learn outside of that box. And I think that's what separates machines from humans. Kasi we can think outside of the box and we can imagine, di ba? For example, yung concept ni Einstein ng relativity. Okay? Um, I don't know if there will come a time na mayroong machine na makakaisip nung idea na light is tawag dito travels there's no object that can travel faster than the speed of light. Okay? And inimagine ni Einstein paano kung ano makikita natin pag nakasakay tayo dun sa light or pag tayo mismo yung light. Ano bang makikita natin? Yun basically yung relativity. And yung machines cannot uh, jump from a classical thought to that kind of thinking na ginawa ni Einstein. Kasi nga machines learn based on the data that it is provided from them. And itong bagay na ito na naisip ni Einstein is something that he thought of. It's something that he just simply imagined. It's out of the box. Okay, so well, we'll see, di ba? Maybe in our lifetime or sa lifetime ninyo, dahil syempre mas matanda na ako sa inyo, ay maabutan niyo na yung time na yun na kaya na rin mag-imagine ng mga machines. Kaya na rin nila maka-feel ng emotions and so on and so forth. And maybe that will be exciting din para sa inyo. Okay, so in terms of machine learning, meron tayong tatlong types. So you have supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So supervised learning is basically learning based using data. Okay, unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning where it can extract or it can provide information based on tawag dito based on data rin, pero yung data ay walang specific na pattern. Okay, yung machine ang bahala maghanap ng pattern na yun. And yung reinforcement learning is a type of machine learning na sort of paano ko ba i-describe to? You provide uh, uh, wait. So ang reinforcement learning is a type of learning na kung saan dali. Okay, supervised, unsupervised, reinforced. Okay, babalikan ko yan. Medyo na nawala ako dito sa part na to eh. Okay, so anyway, so ang tapag-aaralan natin ngayong araw is supervised learning kasi we're going to use data that is linear at titignan natin titignan natin kung paano nag-iisip yung computer. Okay? So yun yung gagawin natin. Ang isang type ng workflow ng machine learning, okay, is this. Okay? So this is a basic workflow. So ang unang ginagawa is to gather data. Tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, we need yung machines, we need to provide data dun sa machines. Okay, ang pangalawang type, okay, is to prepare that data. Okay, ano ibig sabihin na ipe-prepare natin yung data? Well, it might be na yung data ay hindi malinis. Ano ibig sabihin ng hindi malinis? It could be na yung data ay may mga ang tawag dito, hindi kumpleto yung data set mo. For example, may mga zeros and then may mga parts doon na tinatawag na not a number, or sa mathematics could have a number that is infinite. Okay, so you have to remove yung mga data na ito dun sa ating data set. Okay? And then after you prepare the data, okay, you choose a model. Okay? And then maraming models na pagpipilian. Okay, and yung model na to should be specific dun sa task na gusto mong gawin. So today, alam natin na yung data is linear kasi makikita na natin sa shape. So yung model na pipiliin natin is a linear regression model. Then we use that model to train the data set. Okay? Para malaman niya kung ano yung behavior based on the data set. And then we use yung ma-develop niya ng model. Okay? Sorry. Before we use the model, we assess the model. Okay? And I'll explain to you kung paano siya ina-assess mamayang konti. And then once we have assessed yung model, we can then use it to make predictions. Okay? So, tulad ng sinabi ko, today, ang pag-aaralan natin is linear regression na data. Okay. So, ang makikita nyo dito is just a random data, okay, na generate ko lang from code. So, yung kulay blue dito, yan yung randomized na data set. And if you ignore yung red line, you can see na yung data set ay paakyat naman talaga. Okay, so, and yung behavior niya ay paakyat din, di ba? Medyo straight line. So, we can say na we can model this data using linear regression model. Okay, and that's how you select yung model na gagamitin ninyo based on the data na nakikita ninyo. Of course, yung data na binibigay natin sa computer can be varied. And yung bukas at saka sa Thursday, yung data na ipapakita natin are actually images. Okay, and we'll try to look at how we assess those images, or kung anong klaseng models yung pwede natin gamitin to develop, to use para dun sa pagpredict ng outcome nung images na yan. Okay, so sa example na to, we have this linear data. Okay, at ano ang pwede nating gawin dyan? Mathematically, meron naman talaga tayong equation, di ba? For developing straight line. Diba? Ang equation na ginagamit natin, if you recall, ay y is equal to mx plus b. And again, mathematically, meron na tayong expression to determine yung m, which is yung slope, and yung b, which is yung y-intercept. Now, yung equation na yon was actually derived by a method called minimization, okay, or optimization. Okay, so hindi ko na-explain kung ano yun dun sa mathematics part, pero actually gagamitin natin siya dito sa computational physics na part. Okay? So, dito tayo magsisimula sa equation na ito. Now, to generalize yung equation na yan, we are going to rewrite it in this way. So we are going to assign x, of course, as still x, pero yung y ay tatawagin natin na h theta of x. So it's a function of it's a function called h theta, h meaning it's the hypothesis, and it's dependent on the variable x. Okay, now itong m at saka b ay nireplace natin with these variables na theta naught at saka theta 1. Okay? So, wala tayong bagong ginawa dito except na nire-write lang natin yung y equals mx plus b na equation into this compact notation. And you'll see why this is a compact notation kasi when we consider later or when you consider later, okay, pag nag-advance machine learning na kayo, okay, na tawag dito mga behavior ng systems na hindi naman linear, like for example quadratic, okay, or cubic, okay, madadagdagan itong mga theta na ito. So theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, and ang paraan natin ng pag-treat sa mga thetas na ito ay through what's called linear algebra or matrices. Okay, so by rewriting itong equation na ito, okay, into this equation, we can actually make things easier for us mathematically and computationally. Okay, so for now, we depend on this equation instead of this equation. So h theta of x is equal to theta naught plus theta sub 1 of x. Ang theta naught ay yung slope, at yung y-intercept at yung theta sub 1 ay yung slope. Okay, now we're also going to define what's called the error. Okay, so from this figure, I zoomed in between 4 and 5. Okay, so ito yung 4 and 5 na range. So nag-zoom in lang ako dito sa part na ito. Okay, now if I zoom in on that part, I will see na merong difference between yung actual yung na data set at saka yung regression line. Okay, so this is the prediction line. Okay. Okay, ano yung wait, sandali. Okay, ano yung difference na yan? Ang difference na yan, of course, is yung h theta x sub I. Ito yung x sub I. Okay. Remember, this is the hypothesis, and this is defined by this equation, theta naught plus theta 1, tapos x sub I yan. Okay, and this is yi, which is yung true data, yung experimental na data. And yung difference between them, so ito yung difference between them, ay tinatawag natin na error. Okay? And if I go to the next data set, then this will be h theta x sub I plus 1, let's say. This is h theta x sub I plus 1, tapos ito naman y sub I plus 1. Tapos dito meron ding maliit na error, tapos dito merong malaking error. So each of these data sets ay merong difference with respect to the red line. At yung differences na yon ay tinatawag natin na error. Okay. So anong gagawin natin dun sa error na yon? Ang gagawin natin is we're going to square muna lahat ng errors na yan, and then i-add natin silang lahat, and then kukunin natin yung average. Okay, divide natin by n. Now, just for convenience, at makikita nyo kung bakit convenient later, maglalagay tayo ng 1/2 na factor. Okay? So, again, ang ginawa lang natin, in-square natin lahat ng error, and then sinam natin silang lahat, and then kinuha natin yung average. Okay? So, ang ginawa natin actually dito is we took the mean, and then we took the sum, and then we took the average. Sorry, we took the average, the mean, and then we took the square. Okay, so ang tawag natin dyan ay mean square ng error. So mean square ng errors. Yung mean square ng error, we now call as the cost function. Okay? So again, ang cost function is just the square of these differences, tapos i-add natin lahat ng differences na yan, divide by n, multiply by 1/2, that's your cost function. Okay? Okay. So, if you have questions, okay, just let me know. Magtanong lang kayo dyan sa chat box. Okay, now anong gagawin natin dyan sa cost function na yan? Okay. So, ito yung cost function. Okay, tapos ito yung definition natin ng error. Okay, ito yung definition natin ng hypothesis na nandito. So, ipapasok ko ngayon yung hypothesis dyan. And then yung error ipapasok ko doon. And what I'll get is this expression. So now I have a cost function that is dependent on theta naught at saka theta 1. Okay? So ito na yung full expression that involves yung y-intercept, yung slope, at saka yung data set. Okay? Now, anong gagawin natin sa cost function na yan? Now, keep in mind na yung cost function na yan ay mga errors. And if I choose, okay, a value for the y-intercept and the slope randomly, I will get a value for the cost function. If I choose another value for theta naught and theta 1, ibang value, I'll get another value for the cost function. Now, if I do this many times, makikita ninyo na magkakaroon ako maraming values ng cost function, pero there will be a value that is small. Siya yung pinakamaliit na value na makukuha natin. Okay, and that value, the smallest value of the cost function, has a corresponding y-intercept at saka slope. Okay? And yung minimum value ng cost function na yon that gives us the y-intercept and the slope, okay, will actually corresponds to the actual na y-intercept at saka ng slope nitong red line. Okay, so doon na pumapasok yung sinasabi ko kanina. Mathematically, ang ginagawa talaga natin is we minimize the errors. Okay? And computationally, that's also what we do. So ang mini-minimize natin ay yung cost function. No, kaya siya tinawag na cost function. Kasi if it's a large error, then we are actually paying for a lot of tawag dito. We are paying a lot for this error. What we want to do is to pay as small as possible na fee, 'di ba? Para ma-minimize yung error. Okay? So kaya siya tinawag na cost function. So we want the cost function to be as small as possible because it will give us the optimum values for the y-intercept and for the slope. Okay, so yun yung objective ng machine learning. Yan ang basic idea sa machine learning. It's all about minimizing errors. And maraming iba't ibang paraan to minimize this error. And we're going to take a look at one method today, and it's called gradient descent. Okay, so in the next couple of days, i-describe ko rin sa inyo kung ano yung ibang methods ng pag-minimize nung errors. Okay? So how do we do that computationally? Okay? So I hope na yung ating incoming freshman dito ay makasunod, pero kung hindi ka makasunod, it's totally fine. Okay? Kasi importante dito is a description of what is happening. Okay, now ito ay derivative. Okay, it's a mathematical derivative, and what it does is to look at the change, okay, of j of the cost function with respect to itong parameter na theta naught, and titignan din yung j with respect to yung parameter na theta 1. Okay, if you don't understand what is happening here at this time, meron akong graphical na representation yan. Di papakita ko mamayang konti. Pero mathematically, we get yung derivatives nung j with respect to theta naught and nung j with respect to theta 1. And this is what we get. Okay, and once we get this derivative computationally, by the way, kukunin natin to using code, we plug this in dito. Okay, we multiply this by a parameter called alpha. And then we subtract yung result, anong tawag dito, from yung theta naught at saka theta 1 to get a new value of theta naught and theta 1. And then we do this over and over again until we get the minimum value of j. So ito yung magiging process ngayon sa pag-minimize. First, kukuha tayo ng, literally huhulaan natin yung initial value ng theta naught at saka theta 1. Okay? So we just think of any value. Pero we don't randomly think of the values. Instead, kailangan meron tayong sort of educated guess. And the way to get that guess is to look at how the cost function or what the cost function looks like. Okay? So, una may hula tayo for theta 1 and theta naught and theta 1. Then, pag meron na tayong initial na guess, we use this and this, plug these here, and then subtract them from your initial guesses to get yung next na guess. Okay, then tignan natin yung cost function. Okay, tapos we do this again. Okay, for the new values of theta naught and theta 1. Okay, mapapalitan nyo na to. So ito na yung makukuha nyo rito, yun na yung ilalagay nyo doon, lalagay nyo dyan. Then you get a new derivative. Lalagay nyo yan dyan. Tapos ipapasok nyo ulit dito to get a second, tawag dito, guess for theta naught and theta 1. Okay? So, and then i-complete nyo ngayon yung j. Tapos titignan nyo kung yung j from the second guess is smaller than the j from the first guess. It should be kasi nagsusubtract tayo eh. Nagsusubtract tayo ng error. Okay? So, you're going to do that until you see na halos wala ng difference yung theta naught at saka theta 1. Ibig sabihin, nag-plateau na yung theta naught at saka theta 1. So, in other words, etong value na to ay sobrang liit na. At wala ng difference between theta naught before at theta naught after. Okay, so paulit-ulit yung gagawin yun hanggang sa halos pareho na yung mga guesses ninyo. Okay. So, yun yung ginagawa actually ng gradient descent. Okay? So, graphically, ganito yung gagawin yan. Okay? So, meron kayo initial na guess. Okay? So, ito yung cost function, yung z-axis. And then yung isang axis ninyo, let's say this is the x-axis, theta naught, and then the y-axis, theta 1. Okay, so we start off with a guess. Okay, so yung unang guess natin is A. Okay, and then we take the derivative and then we apply itong parameter update na equation. And it will lead us to this next point. Okay, and we're sure na bababa siya kasi may minus sign dito. Okay, so once we have that, plug this in here, then we get the cost function at ito yung bibigay niya sa atin, itong point na ito. Then we do that again, okay, for the new values of theta naught and theta 1. Then we get this point. Okay, so we do that several times until we get to this minimum value for the cost function. Okay, so yun yung ginagawa na gradient descent. And kaya siya tinawag na gradient descent kasi it goes down, okay, towards the path, okay, that is fastest. Okay, so and tawag dito, yun. So yun yung gradient descent basically. Now, unfortunately, ang gradient descent is sensitive sa initial guesses. So if you have an initial guess that is at point C, it is possible that it can lead you to another minimum value. And kung yung cost function nyo has more than one minimum value, magiging problematic yan. Kasi you have many minimum values dun sa function. So you don't actually go to yung pinakamaliit na na cost function. Okay? Pero that's something that you don't have to worry about for now. Okay? Later siguro pag nag-delve deeper na kayo sa machine learning. Ang point lang na gusto kong makuha nyo dito is through gradient descent, by minimizing yung errors, okay, we can tell the machine, okay, to figure out kung ano yung theta naught at saka theta 1. So we're teaching the machine how to learn how to find the minimum value. And the way to do that is to minimize yung errors. Okay? Okay, so yan yung summary. Babalikan ko yan mamaya. At this point, ang ipapakita ko na sa inyo ay yung code. Okay. So, ito yung code that will allow us to do that. Okay, is this size sufficient? Okay na ba tong size na to? Okay, kahit thumbs up lang kung okay na. Yep, okay, thank you. Okay, and okay, so yung iba sa inyo hindi familiar with Python. So if you're not familiar, it's fine. Okay, so i-describe ko lang briefly kung ano yung meron dito. Now, marami iba't ibang Python na APIs at itong isang API na to ay from Google. Ang tawag dito is Colab. Okay. So what you can do is just go to Google Colab. Okay, and then you go to this page and if you ang tawag dito, you can sign in using your Google account. Okay, so dun sa mga may UP email, you can use your UP email, but you can also use your own Gmail account dito. Para sa ating incoming freshman, okay, you will be given a UP email address pag once na maka-enroll ka na sa sa first semester. Okay, so yun yung ginagamit ko, yung Google Colab. Now, sa Python, you need to upload yung tinatawag na modules na kailangan. Okay, so ito yung modules na kailangan natin to allow us to find the minimum value. Now, itong code na to, okay, generates a random data. Okay, random fluctuations. So, kung titignan niyo mabuti itong code, we have this true slope, true intercept. Okay, and then we have this X, and then we have this Y. Tapos ito yung ating noise. Okay, yung noise is a randomly generated na value, okay, na dinadagdag natin dito sa mx plus b para maging randomized yung data. Okay. Okay, so kung wala kasi yung noise na yan, kung yung noise is zero, then it will just follow this red line dyan sa graph. Okay. Okay, so ito ay function. Okay. Now, itong next na cell, okay, here we define yung true slope at saka yung true na intercept. So we say na yung true slope is 2.5 and yung true na intercept is 5. And then we define a data set for X. Okay, and then we plug that X at saka itong true slope at saka true intercept dito. Okay, sa function na ito, random linear data set. Yan yung function na ginawa natin dito sa taas, random linear na data set. Okay, what this function does is to give us new values of the y. Okay, so yan yung y na makukuha natin dyan. So, the way I generated itong blue line na ito, itong blue dots na ito, kung paano ko generate yan, I used this code, okay, just this single line of code, okay, para i-generate yan. Of course, it's not technically a single line kasi gumamit din ako ng definition na ito. Okay? So that's how I generated yung blue dots dun sa pinakita ko kaninang data set. Okay, now this also generates tawag dito, data without the noise. So nung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina na pag sinet natin yung noise to zero, then it will just give you yung red line, which is yung pinapakita dito. So ito yung pinaplot niya yung blue dots. This plots the blue dots and this plots the red line. Okay, so yun yung nakikita niyo ngayon dito. Okay? Okay. Now let's go to the cost function. So ito yung definition natin ng cost function na sinulat natin kanina. Okay, dun sa slide. Okay, and we defined yung cost function gamit itong code na ito. Okay? So hindi ko na i-explain gaano yung code na yan. Basta ang tignan nyo na lang, if you're unfamiliar, this line here is exactly how you implement this equation in Python. Okay, so itong shaded part na yan is exactly this equation, okay, in Python. Okay, and then okay, so it's still okay, so pinlat lang ito over an axis. Okay, and then dito now I have. Okay, so here I generate an animation with two plots side by side, and I also compute for the cost function. So dito ko na kino-compute yung cost function sa line na ito. Okay, and then the rest of the parts ng code is just for graphing. Now, what do I get after I graph that? So I graph pag na-graph ko na yung cost function, then I get this. Okay? So, yan. So kung titignan ninyo, okay, yung red line actually changes in slope. Okay, so ang ginawa ko dito is I kept the y-intercept at 5, pero I changed the slope, okay, for each iteration. Okay, and every time na binabago ko yung slope, okay, yan. So meron lumalabas na value ng cost function. And if I keep changing the slope, okay, makikita natin na yung cost function ay bumababa. At habang bumababa din yung cost function, nakikita rin natin na yung red line begins to approximate yung linear, okay, na line that describes yung blue na dots. Okay, and this is what is happening. Okay, this is how tawag dito, how machines learn. Okay, so fini-figure out niya through gradient descent kung ano yung best value ng y-intercept at saka ng slope. Okay? And ang ginagawa niya is dahan-dahan siyang bumababa papunta dun sa minimum value. Ito yung ngayon yung minimum na value. Okay? So yun yung ginagawa nung gradient descent. Okay, now this is what the cost function looks like in 3D. Okay, medyo, anong tawag dito? Medyo may part dito na, anong tawag dito? Medyo mukhang straight line, pero actually, ang minimum value niya is somewhere here. Okay, pero yung slope niya, o yung curve, yung shape ng cost function ay parabolic na ganyan. Pero you still have yung minimum value somewhere here. So yung nakikita yung shape na ito is just one part of the shape dito sa one section of yung shape na ito. Okay, kung saan minimum yung cost function. Okay, so ganyan natututo yung machines. Okay, so you make an initial guess, okay, and then it changes yung values ng slope at saka ng y-intercept until it reaches yung minimum value ng y-intercept, nung cost function. Okay, and makikita nyo na, di ba, between this data point and this data point, maliit na lang yung difference ng cost function. And that's how you tell the machine to stop running. Okay, kasi if the difference between yung dalawang cost functions ay sobrang liit na at wala nang pagbabago, then that means you've already reached yung minimum value. Okay? So that's basically how machines learn using gradient descent. Okay? So, any questions at this point? Okay, so ang gagawin ko is I'm going to share with you, of course, itong video na ito, and then I'm also going to share with you itong slides na ito. tong code na ito. Okay, if you want to study how this works, and if you want to also study Python, then maybe this is the code that will help you do that. Now, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, you can actually, if you don't know anything about Python, then you can actually, tawag dito, ask, uh, tawag dito, yung Python about certain functions. For example, okay, pwede nyo i-select ito, np linspace. Ayan, halimbawa yan. Okay, and then you click, right-click. Okay, and then you go down. Saan na yun? Here. Makikita nyo dito na yung option to explain code. Click nyo explain code, and then a window will pop out, and then it will explain the code to you. Okay? So ang explanation niya is about this function na linspace. Okay? So linspace is a function from the NumPy library, okay, numerical Python library, to generate an array of 50 evenly spaced. Ito yung 50 dito, evenly spaced points between 0 and 10. Okay? So ito yung kinaganda sa sa Google Colab. In some APIs, wala sila nung ganitong feature. Okay, so if you're learning Python pa lang in the beginning, then this is something that that will be quite useful sa inyo. Okay, I hope. Then sabi dito, kukunin niyo yung linspace function from the NumPy library. This is why it's important to import the NumPy library, okay, from into yung workspace. Okay, so ito yung workspace ninyo. And then you import it as NP. Okay, and kaya merong NP dito sa harap. Yan, kaya merong NP diyan. Okay, sorry, kaya may NP dito kasi you're saying na I'm getting linspace from the NumPy library. If you don't, kung hindi niyo isasama yan, NP na yan at nilagay niyo lang linspace, okay, mag-produce ng error yung code. Okay, now there's also one other feature that I would like to show you, okay, before bago tayo matapos. Sorry, meron pa pala dito, derivative of the cost function. Okay, so meron pa pala dito. So anyway, before I show you that feature, so this code here basically computes for the derivative of the cost function. Okay, so and then it also generates yung mga bagong values nung theta naught at saka theta 1. Okay, so okay. So itong video na to shows kung ano yung nangyayari pag pumili tayo ng random na theta naught at saka theta 1. Okay? Teka. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so ipo-pause ko to. So makikita nyo na tawag dito, ang pinili ko dito is somewhere below the 5 na y-intercept and the slope which is higher than this one. Okay, so yan, nakikita nyo na medyo parang hinahanap niya, di ba? Parang hinahanap niya o tinatry niyang i-match yung red line. Okay? And makikita niyo rin na as we progress, okay, minumove ko na lang yung scroll bar dito manually. As we progress, okay, lumalapit yung y-intercept muna doon. So noong una malayo yung y-intercept. Okay, and as we progress, lumalapit yung y-intercept. Okay? And then eventually, lalapit din yung line na to dun sa slope na yan. Okay? Pero hindi ko kasi siya pinatakbo ng more than 1,000 iterations. Siguro if I made it like 10,000 iterations, magmamatch na yung green line with the red line. Okay? And ayun. So ito yung nangyayari sa gradient descent. I also discussed itong parameter na alpha kanina, and that's called the learning rate. Okay, so kung gaano siya kabilis matuto. And if you change that value, okay, you can also change how fast, tawag dito, a function or the gradient descent learns. But you cannot just change it to as small as possible para mas mabilis. Okay, kasi it could lead to other problems like overfitting. Okay? Okay, so yung sinasabi ko na isang feature na pwede niyo pang gawin dito sa Google Colab is this. So I'm going to open a new cell. Okay, and then I'm going to click on this generate with with AI. Okay? Now, sabi ko nga sa inyo, you don't need to learn how to code, okay, to be able to use Python. Okay? Ang kailangan nyo lang is the right prompt. Okay? So let's say generate a code, okay, that tawag dito, outputs a quadratic function. Okay, quadratic function. Add a noise to the quadratic function and plot it. Okay, so wala akong ginagawang kahit anong code. Ang ginawa ko lang is, sinabi ko lang sa kanya kung ano yung gusto kong makuha. Then you press enter, and then it generates all these codes. And if we run this, okay, then I have this graph. Okay, and somewhere here I could change yung noise level, quad through A, quad through B, quad through C. So, itong noise quad. Okay, so if I change this to 0, okay, so if I change this to 0, then mawawala lahat ng noise na yun. Yan, so nawala lahat ng noise. Again, if put that back, then I generate, okay, noise. Okay, but the point is, andito na siya. You don't need to learn how to code. You just need to look to anong tawag dito? To know what to tell Google Colab what you want to do. Now, some may think that it's a form of cheating, okay, and tawag dito. And that's why meron kayo ditong use code with caution, okay, and then you have these disclaimer from Google, okay, and well, for me, it's a way for you to learn. Okay, it's only cheating if you submit something na hindi talaga kayo yung gumawa. And tawag dito, if you're using this to learn how to code, then it's fine. Okay, pero I hope you don't use it to, submit a work that you didn't actually do. Okay? So, yun yung ginagawa dito. So, let's go back now to the slides and to the summary. Okay, so ano yung natutunan natin ngayong araw? Well, pinag-aralan natin kung ano yung machine learning. Okay, and sinabi natin ang machine learning is a science of getting computers to learn and act like humans by feeding them data, okay, to learn for themselves. Okay, and as an example, to show kung paano natututo yung machines, we used a linear regression. And yung method to teach the machines how to learn is called optimization or minimization. So we minimize yung error, or we minimize the cost function. Okay, and to minimize the cost function, we use a technique called gradient descent. Okay, and from the gradient descent, we are tawag dito, we are able to determine yung slope at saka y-intercept ng equation ng line. Okay, so yun. That's it for today. So, any questions? Okay, so tomorrow, I'm going to give a couple more examples pagdating dito sa linear regression. And then we're going to do what's called, let's call it computer vision. So we're going to start with what's called MNIST, handwritten dataset. Okay, so images to ng numbers between 0 to 9, and I'm going to show you how machines learn how to read yung digital images na to, or specifically yung digits na numbers from 0 to 9. Okay, so any questions? Okay, so if you don't have questions now, it's fine. Kung meron kayong questions later, you can just send it to me sa email if you have questions nga. Okay, and if you are curious about something, okay, and para sa iba sa inyo, gumagawa na kayo or nag-iisip siguro kayo ng mga thesis problems, you can also ask me about that. So we just have one quick question here. What's the benefit of using linear regression specifically compared to other models? Well, yun na nga. So you choose the model that is specific for the data set that you have. Yung data set na pinakita natin dito is a linear na data set. Okay? And since it's already linear, I mean it's obvious naman na 'di ba? Obvious naman na paakyat yung data set natin. Then, ang pipiliin natin na model is a linear regression. Okay, you have other models that we can use. And in fact, bukas, when we take a look at yung digital images ng numbers from 0 to 9, okay, makikita natin na yung linear regression model cannot be used, okay, pagdating sa image classification, okay, or number classification. Kasi it will be tawag dito, super tedious na i-code at sobrang bagal na process. Sobrang bagal na paraan para matuto yung machine. Okay, if we use linear regression to identify, to classify images. Okay? So again, yan, nagde-depend yan talaga sa data, the model that you choose. I hope I've answered your question. Yes, any other questions? Okay, so if you don't have, kung wala na kayong tanong, then I will see you again tomorrow, same time, 5 o'clock. Okay, and later isi-send ko sa inyo yung link nung recording at saka nung book. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. I hope meron kayong natutunan today and I'll see you again tomorrow.